Thanks for having me. I am standing in for our team leads, Mike and Jen, who couldn't make it. My name's Tom Walpole. So the update from our work group, the clinical trials work group, just a refresher, our objectives have been to essentially take a CDISC SDTM formatted clinical trials data and convert those to OMOP CDM. And kind of the sub-objectives there are to generate a set of conventions on how to actually do that, include the mappings from one standard to the other, and then go ahead and publish those guidelines. So that's what we've been working on. Some of the challenges that we've faced over the past year have been that the data that are collected according to the SDTM standard, they're going to require those mappings. And a lot of times it's not just a direct field to field mapping. So there's usually some rules there on how to convert that. For example, dates, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with, common problem. So that's something that we've been undertaking. A second challenge that we've had are privacy concerns, just making it difficult to access actual clinical trial data to be able to kind of test out our guidelines as we're coming through and developing those. And then finally is just that clinical trials data are a specialized type of medical record, and they often require custom vocabulary. So we're also identifying instances where we need to amend or add to different vocabularies. Just very generally and quickly, our approach to kind of accomplish this has been to first document our proposed convention. So come up with an idea on how do we go about doing this transformation, and we've got those available for anyone who wants to take a look at what we have so far. And there's a link there. I'm sure you can get your hands on the slide deck. And then to collect a set of SDTM formatted source data that adequately represents a breadth of data elements, and just trying to capture as many different variations of data that we possibly could, so that we can kind of be as comprehensive as possible with those mappings and guidelines. And finally, looking at some different data sources, Fuse, Vivli, CPath, and I just came across Trial Twin, which seems to be relatively recent, kind of the next step, it seems like, after Fuse. If anybody is familiar with that, I'd love to learn more about that. Continuing with our approach then is to produce those transformation definitions and field mappings for the source data. And we have some of those already out there for review if anybody is interested, and we're continuing to kind of work through those things. And then finally, perform a proof of concept. Now we've got the mappings, let's take some real data, transform it, and see how that goes. And so we're kind of in the thick of that right now. Our kind of key results and progress for this year. First, some context, we did get our hands on Fuse data, which is synthetic trial data. And we were able to kind of do a first version there last year. And that was a good start, but in a nutshell, what we found is those data just weren't quite comprehensive enough to really get a lot of coverage. And so that's why we kind of moved into the second phase, which is to get some actual clinical trial data to perform these conversions on. And that started with getting involved with Vivli, which is a repository for clinical trial data. It's taken some time to finally get access, but I'm happy to report that we did finally get access at the end of summer, kind of beginning of fall. And so that's where we're at right now. Basically have had access for the last couple of months, and we're kind of in the process of going through those data and applying our approach to that Vivli data. Essentially what we're doing is team members have volunteered to produce mappings for specific SDTM domains and the resulting CDM tables, output tables. And we do bi-weekly Friday meetings and basically are working on those. So if there's anyone out there who kind of is interested in this idea of transforming clinical trial data, we are hands-on in the thick of it, working through. We've got quite a breadth of team members helping us through all of that. And essentially going forward, we're gonna, as we go into 2023, we'll be trying to work through as many Vivli data sets as we can. We currently have access to 6 different trials, and we've requested up to 20. So we're hoping to continue with that. And as I mentioned before, the trial twin data looks promising, and so that might be an avenue we might pursue next year as well. In the next coming months, we should have a pretty good coverage as far as mappings go, and we should be in pretty good shape with respect to actually performing that transformation on the SDTM data set. So again, if there's anyone out there who finds this interesting, we got a great team, 30 active members, and quite a wide variation of backgrounds represented, and also everyone from very inexperienced with OHDSI and OMOP to people that are extremely experienced. And so it's a good mix. We're learning a lot, and I think adding clinical trials data to the mix of overall data to kind of observe and do studies on is going to be really compelling and interesting. So if anyone wants to get involved, fill out the form as Craig pointed out, or you can reach out to either of the group leads. And with that, I'll hand it over for questions.